All right, here are the steps to setting up your pop art portrait. Before you start, you want to think about who you're going to choose for this. You do want a person who is a current pop icon, somebody who is, reached a certain status where pretty much everybody knows who this person is. So just a quick definition, a pop icon is a celebrity character or object whose exposure in popular culture is regarded as constituting a defining characteristic of a given society or era. So who is a good symbol of this current era, this today's sort of popular culture? You think about Andy Warhol during the 50s, the 60s. He was choosing people like Marilyn Monroe, Elvis, Elizabeth Taylor. So you want to think about who are these people today. Now, again, you want to find somebody that reaches a certain status. So not just somebody that's known to you, but known to you, your parents, maybe even your grandparents. Somebody who's reached that status, but also maybe somebody that's not going to be chosen by anybody else. For this case, we're going to just use another Marilyn image. So here are some things that you can do when you search. Number one, you can type in the person's name, and you can follow that with portrait. And that will give you the images that you want. I'm going to go to the image search. Also, I want to make sure that these images are large. So I'm going to go to Tools, I'm going to go to Size, and I'm going to go to Large. And then, even then, you still might have images that you can't use, so you just got to look at them. Obviously, you want to stay away from artwork. You want to find photographs that are clear, that are large. And so hopefully this should give you an idea, or at least make it easier for you to find. You can always look at the size. These numbers are the size of the image, and you want a high resolution. So if one of those numbers hits 1,000, that's probably a good place to start. This is kind of an old image, but I think it's gonna work. Now, to get to the largest version of this image, what I would do is click on the image first. Then I want to go and I'm going to right click on this bigger one. And I'm going to try this open image in new tab. And hopefully that gives you the full size version of that photo. This is the one you want to download. This is the one you want to take into Photoshop. So now I can just drag that in straight down to your Photoshop icon, and that should open that up. Okay, so just another some other tips about searching. Again, just to review, think of the person who you want to do, and then go ahead and put portrait after. You want to go to images, look under size, and then large. When you do find an image, it is best if you find a photo where you can see their whole head and space around the image. So if the head gets kind of cut off like you see here, maybe not going to work. If you have most of the head, like here, that's okay. But if you get the whole face and space around the head, that is ideal. You don't want this where it's cropped. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so back in Photoshop, here is our image. Now this image in particular, we don't have to do much to it in terms of cropping it. You might have to use your crop tool, which is this guy right here. If your image isn't directly surrounding your person's face, such as this image here. So in this case, I would actually crop this. So with your crop tool, you can just, so when you select your crop tool, you'll get this box around it, and then I would just get rid of any extra space around your person's face. You do want to leave a little bit of room, but this would be about what we want. So just enough, maybe a little below the shoulders. And when you're ready to crop, just press return. And then that's what you want to use with your image. I'm going to go back to the other one and we'll proceed here. First thing we want to do after we crop, we want to get rid of any of this background space. And you're going to use this tool right here, your quick selection tool. This is going to allow you to select some areas. So all you have to do is click your mouse on them. It's going to try to find an edge. Now, undoubtedly, there will be parts where you get too much. So right here, it's kind of having trouble finding the hair. So what you can do here is hit Option, and this will subtract. And I'm just going to paint those back out while I hold Option. And then I can let go of Option again and just kind of slowly click through until it gets kind of closer to the edges. Other side here, don't worry about this not being perfect. We're going to change this image so much that it doesn't matter if the edges aren't super clean, but we don't want any parts that are going to get cut off. Once you have that background selected, again, depending on your photo, it might be harder for you to do that, but hopefully it's not too difficult. If possible, find a photo with a blank background and a hard edge between the person and the background. Once you have it selected, all you got to do is press delete on your keyboard. You'll see the checker, and that means you've gotten rid of that background, which is good. I'm going to go up to the select menu and deselect just to get rid of the selected area. And now we're kind of ready to take this to the next part, which is to simplify this into kind of a black and white values. Obviously this photo is black and white, but I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to go Image, Adjustments, and I'm going to find Threshold. And this is going to turn this into just, again, two values, black and white. With Threshold, you can control how much dark you have, how much light you have. Now, it's not going to kind of fix everything. So you might have to do some editing to your photo, which I do here. I lose a lot of the hair here and maybe a little of the nose. So I'm going to hit cancel here. And then I'm going to go in and use my burn tool. And this is going to let me darken areas. So it looks like a hand. It is paired with some other tools. So just close your, or hold your mouse down on this and you'll find the burn tool. And the burn tool works just by darkening areas. And you can try doing the shadows or the midtones. I'm going to start with the shadows. So what I want to do is I want to darken the areas here. I'm going to turn the strength up a little bit. I don't have a ton of shadows here, so it's not going to do a lot, but you can sort of see it will darken any shadows. I'm actually going to go to midtones, and that will work a little better because those are mostly middle values. Now, the reason, again, I'm doing this is so that when I do the threshold, more of this is going to show up. Maybe a little more on the nose, just a little bit. Then you can try Image, Adjustments, Threshold again. You'll see some more pop up, and then I can, again, adjust. At this point, what you want to look for is you want to make sure this looks like the person you have chosen. I'm going to do a little bit more here. Just really dark, and then I think that should do it. Again, I'll go Image, Adjustments, Threshold one more time. Okay, now I have a little more hair there. And that's going to make it easier. Again, look at your image and make sure you're getting a good likeness in terms of where you put your threshold. I'm going to just stop here at 150, then I'll hit OK. And we're almost there. One thing I will do is I'm going to put an outline on my image. To do that, you can go to Layer, Layer Style, and I'm going to click on Stroke. And I just want to set this to black. So just click on that colored box. And then the size, you don't want it too big. So I'm going to, depending on your image, you can change this size here. And then I'll hit OK. Again, that's going to make it easier for you when you trace this. So you do want that outline there. Now we're going to do one more thing, which is to simplify this image. There's a lot of like grainy stuff here. So again, you want this to be easy when you trace it. So I will go Filter, and then you're going to go to Filter Gallery. Now I'm going to cancel this because I have to change one thing. I do want my colors down here on the bottom left to be black and white. See, mine is red and white. There's a little black and white icon here. So if you click on that, it'll just go back to black and white. I'll try Filter Gallery again. Filter Gallery. And the one I want is Stamp. And this is going to, I'll just show you the preview. It's just going to simplify things. So here's without stamp, and here's with. It sort of rounds everything out. Again, when you trace this, it's just going to be a little easier. You can play around with the settings here. It's not going to do much because I already did a lot of this with threshold. But this is a good last step. If you want to take the smoothness higher, it will, again, kind of generalize it a little more. But again, you don't want to lose the likeness of the person. So make sure you can still tell who it is. And then when you're ready, hit OK. And then your image is ready to go. Just a few more things that you want to do. You're going to go and resize this. We want this to actually be 4 inches wide. So I'm going to go to Image, Image Size, and right here it says width. It's 15 inches right now. I'm going to change this to 4. But I'm also going to bump up this resolution to 150. That's so when we print this, it is still high quality. Actually, I'm going to do 200. And then I'll hit OK. And this is the image pretty much in the final size. I'll do one last thing, which is to save it. So I'll go to File, Save As. I will save it to my desktop. Right here where it says Format, I'm going to change this to JPEG, and then I'll give this a name. And then I'll hit Save. I'm going to hit Quality 12, hit OK, and then I should have the image. Here it is. So that's what you're going to submit to Classroom to get that printed so that you can trace that. And that is your steps to setting up your portrait.